I know. You love me so, me so, me so. I know. You love me so, me so, me so. I know. You love me so, me so, me so.
Hello, navigators. Thank you for joining us once again. We're back on your screens. We've been saying thank you, and we want to say thank you once more. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. And we just want to say maybe thank you differently today because we are cooking. We are excited about what lies ahead. We are excited about the journey that's ahead of us. We are excited about where we want to take the show. So thank you. And by the way, just to let you in on this secret, when you guys aren't around, we refer to you guys as navigators. That's how we refer to you guys, and we love that you're part of our journey. We love that you get to share with us how you are consuming the show and how you just don't let us sit here and talk alone. Okay, thank you for keeping us talking. I'm back again for another insightful, another soulful, another very well cooked topic. But this one is going to be, I don't know. Should I let you in on it yet? Or maybe let's just say hello to the people that I'm going to be having this conversation with. Hello, Moet.
Hello, Viwe.
It's so nice to have
Will
you
I
back.
ever stop being nervous? I cannot get used to this.
Is
It
it?
is an honor. It is a pleasure. It is a privilege to be here.
In your
And
true
once
self.
again, it feels so good to be a thorn amongst the roses.
Yeah, well, he's saying that because not only is he here with me, but our primary navigator, our
Yes,
doctor, Zikona. Hello, my darling.
Hello, sweetheart.
So lovely to have you back.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
So lovely to have you back. I just let our viewers in on something. I said we are cooking. Please confirm we are indeed cooking because there's something cooking for the episodes ahead. So please stay with us. Okay. Are you confirming? Affirmative?
Affirmative.
Absolutely.
Affirmative.
You almost left me
All the
alone
time.
there. All right. Thank you so much for joining us once more. We are coming here today with a very controversial topic because we're here for that. We're here to make sure we deal with all these elephants that exist in our lives. City, actually, how do we unpack you? How do we live with you? How do we survive with you? Okay. So we're here back with that topic of cheating. Did you hear me?
Loud and
Say
clear.
what?
Wow.
Loud and clear.
We are here to unpack cheating. We are here to look into the belief systems behind cheating. We are here to actually explore if we are growing in our relationships organically. Are we just downloading beliefs about cheating that we inherited? Are we creative? Are we living in a space where we understand what it is about? Okay, so here we are. Mawet,
Yes.
Zik,
I'm here.
are we ready for this one?
Of course.
Are we?
Yes,
What
ready
comes
as
to
we
mind
ever
when we talk about cheating? Zikwan.
Wow. Wow. For me, the first word that comes to mind when you say cheating
Yeah.
is loss.
Okay.
For me, cheating equates loss.
Okay.
And the saddest thing is that it's not just a loss of the present, ne? It's a loss of the past, because once you navigate that world of cheating,
Yeah.
you then cannot know what the past was the past true. You know that the present is not, and now you know that there's going to be an uncertain future. So for me, I look at it, it's in three different stages of loss. Past, a past that you were a fool in, a past that maybe is not real, that was never real, you just did not see it, a present, and a future that is gone. So much is taken away. So for me,
I see.
it's loss that comes to mind because so much is gone. A past and a future.
I see.
Sure.
No, look, the weight that is carried by just your definition of cheating, where there is loss. And I actually just wonder, and it's quite early on for me to be bringing our viewers on this one, but I actually do want to do that because with that, for me, I'm one person who believes that everything you consume in life is always just about your perspective. How do you view it, And already you've just brought it in so So I don't know, you hit hard when you said loss, and then you said it sort of invalidates everything, everything before and everything to come,
Because you're not able to then be sure that what is your past is actually true.
I see.
You don't know how much is true, and that in some way invalidates your life, your time, because you look back at your investment, you look at the investment that was lost before you even knew it. It's so hard.
My goodness. I actually want to come to you, Mawet,
Yeah.
and I'm coming to you. Oh, I'm coming to you also. And at this point, I feel like La Men's Conference, they must know you are carrying them for this part of the conversation. So I want you, honestly, must we continue to identify with cheating in what I think Zikwana has just said, in that manner where we sort of accept it as something that invalidates whatever exists in relationships when somebody decides to go out? Must we continue? And I think I'm asking you also as a man in that space, is it honestly that heavy? Is it something that's that big? What comes up for you when you consider cheating?
Oh, cheating. Yes, let's continue to look at it that way.
Okay.
Cheating in its own expression means to gain advantage without following the rules of the game. So you're cheating your way to success or whatever you set out as a goal and an achievement of that objective, right? So what comes to mind is hurt, disappointment, sadness, self-doubt, and betrayal, downright. When cheating is involved, it does not matter who does the cheating. In heterosexual relationships, if it's a male cheating, it is absolutely wrong. If it's a female cheating, equally it is absolutely wrong. So it's an act that leaves people in misery.
I see. I want to actually take us both, all three of us, take you both, rather,
Yes.
back to our initial conversation. I think you were part of that conversation. And Doc, maybe you'll be coming in fresh on this one, when we said that, the real difference between a rose and bad weed is judgment. Are we not? And I'm actually just trying to challenge our thinking around this whole cheating issue.
Okay.
If I was with kids, I would say, show me which part of your body hurts when cheating happens. I would say, I would literally make it so physical so that we understand what we are treating. But I just want to say, understanding the makeup of humans, whereas there is the you and then there's the ego that you carry with you. What do you think cheating goes for? Where does it hurt?
Wow.
Does it hurt the true essence of what of what makes you up as Uzikona, or does it hurt certain aspects about you?
Wow, Viwe, I'd like to be frank.
Yeah.
It hurts on many different levels.
Aha.
First of all, it hurts my background, where I come from. It starts with when you cheat on me, when you're cheating on me in a way that I find out whatever it is that you're doing. Ne? It talks about your disrespect, not just for myself, but for the people that walked before me. I mean, the Shalimpinis that came before Zikona. It says that your disrespect is that deep. It is that deep that you have no regard for things that are sacred. Because you must understand that when you get into these really committed relationships, as in like marriage, there's sacredness. There are things that are not to be done. And for me, it starts there. It starts by you coming into my family's space and coming to do something there
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
So what you are basically saying is that you attach the act of cheating to what makes you up as a human, your identity,
my-
including
yes.
those that came before you.
My identity. And I mean, it's not even just about you finding out that someone is cheating on you and that the whole world knows. It's just that I know, my family knows. I don't know, it becomes so much, it becomes an identity crisis to some extent.
I understand.
I found through my own experience that I went through a huge amount of pain, loss, identity unknown. It was, oh gosh, it was terrible. So it affected the essence of what makes Zikona.
Is it?
It affected the and again, in another sense, I feel so bad that someone else's actions could have had such a profound impact on my life, such a profound impact on the kind of human being that I became, the quality of person that I am. But that's what it did. I mean, cheating just is a negative life experience, and it's so unfair that one individual decides to impose that on you, because there are channels. If you're not happy, say you want an open relationship, be honest. Allow me to also choose.
That's interesting. I don't know how many people would be open to now say mid relationship. Let's change the rules of engagement.
Some people do.
I understand, but I'm saying I don't know how easy it is for people to say. It's almost like saying we're getting into the field to play soccer, and then halfway through the game you pick up the ball and it's like, do you understand? So I think for me that's quite, I'm not saying there isn't space for it, but I'm saying I'm not quite sure.
We're not there yet.
Whether people would be able to take that risk,
We're not there yet.
is cheating, honestly. And because we carry Navigating Life with Viwe as a platform where we can actually move people forward in their conception of issues that we exist with. And I think part of what we've said and part of what we've promised to say, look, if it's going to move humanity forward, let's open it up. Let's talk about it. And let's also make sure that we bring insight that progresses the conversation so that it stops being just about repeating what has been said. Because in our true sense, we've said before, nothing that you're going through now is happening for the first time. Somebody else has gone through it before. Mawed, how new is cheating? Have we progressed in how we deal with cheating? Whether it's in our conceptualization of the issue, have we progressed, or have we literally just resuscitated how it makes us feel? Which, if we were to take by our initial definition, it's exactly how our mothers, our grandmothers. Have we progressed in conversation around the concept of cheating?
As humans, we evolve, right? And there are new concepts that are introduced because people are all of a sudden woke, and sometimes we've set the principles too high, which is good, because when the principle high, the practice seeks to achieve that level of the principle. And a principle is something of perfection, and we are every day striving for perfection. Cheating is not something I can say is time bound.
Oh,
or
sorry.
Is epochal, or it belongs to a certain era, right? Cheating is there for as long as humans exist, but for as long as it exists itself, it shall continue to destroy. It shall continue to
It
be
cannot
a
be
killjoy.
healed.
It shall continue to
Wreak havoc.
agonize people. Yes, wreak havoc. I love the way you're expressing it. So I have heard many instances where people are at pains justifying in our social circles, in our social spaces. You will find that people are saying, I am not bound to any vows. I did not make vows in front of friends, guests, and family.
Non-fundis.
Right? Yes, non-fundis. And even before God, you've made your vows, right? It's the two people. Now you're coming in as a third element or a third force in that relationship. And your excuse is proudly that you are not bound. You did not make any vows. So the very same people who have the responsibility for protecting the vows, it's the people that made them. It's those talks. It's clever talk in my view, but it shall continue to be wrong It shall continue to be disruptive. It shall continue to be destructive.
And if I can add something to what Mawetu is saying, I want us to be very careful in looking at the psyche, the psychology of the cheater. This person we are saying is cheating in their personal life. Believe me, they cheat in other aspects of their lives as well. Cheating becomes a recurring decimal in their lives. So be careful when Mawetu cheats on me. If we were married, I forgive him. Be careful that he's cheating in other areas of his life that are going to end up affecting me. He's cheating somewhere at work. We're going to end up having a house repossessed in 10 years to come, because this person, it's in his nature to be disloyal, to be devious.
I'm actually, viewers, I'm honestly facilitating this so that we get the most out of this conversation. So nime ngo charge, because we need to settle somewhere. We need to arrive somewhere with this conversation. I want to take you on what you've just said, right? And I don't know if it's fair for us to now assume that because this person is cheated in our relationship, they are cheaters in every other part of their lives.
It's easier for them to be.
Sorry?
It's easier for them to be cheaters in other parts of their lives. It's easier because it comes easier for them. You know, being a double agent, so to speak, it's easier for them to do that.
I want to challenge you further on that, because I think there's an assumption that you've made that this person woke up and decided, I want to go out and cheat. And I only think that you can be able to make such suggestions if you have thoroughly interrogated what could have been the reason behind this particular person's cheating. Otherwise, if we're taking it in the generic form, we will end up where you are. So I want to actually ask you, what do you think is the primary thing that actually gets people to cheat? Is it sex? Is it unmet needs? Is it, what is behind?
It's definitely a combination of many things. Unmet needs, sex, chasing something that you previously couldn't have. Now you can. I mean, you find that with them. You find that.
I actually want to stop you right there, just there. So there are things I have chased in my life that I didn't have before, and when I attained them, they were worth celebrating. So how is it different from cheating? How is it different if I've never had an opportunity to date a slave queen, right? And I'm just making it an example, because when do we then draw the line to say these are worth celebrating? You haven't had it before, right? But now, when does it become different? Because here's what I think we have done to everybody who has fell into cheating. And I'm not saying I have viewed it or I have consumed it differently from anybody. But here's what we've done. Before we created space to understand the circumstances around it, we've defined it, right? We've said it's bad. We haven't checked what the causes are, right? But we've sort of put this blanket on it to say it is bad.
So, cheating is indeed not in and of itself a problem. And let I not be misconstrued in saying
I'm interested in that line of thinking.
Stop right there before you distort what I'm going to say.
Okay, I'm just saying, because the closer we come to reality for me, because it's I think for me it's beautiful to sit in a glass house and to define things as good and bad.
Okay.
But the minute I love wherever you land, I'm open to it. Go for it.
Yeah. So basically, a friend of mine many years ago once said, if he gets cheated on, instead of just walking away, he will try and interrogate, as you are saying. What was wrong? Was the problem with him? Was the problem within the spouse? And then if they get to understand and ventilate the reasons why that happened, then it gives him a prerogative to decide whether he wants to work on the shortcomings and the deficiencies that made it reasonable for the other spouse to cheat. All right? Because it is a symptom, right? It is a symptom that there is something that is feeding that cheat or that desire and will to cheat. All right? For an example, sexual temptation, Zakona made sexual temptation. If some things they manifest as thought, they have a ripple effect. Thought morphs into an idea morphs into implementation. Depending whether you are caught first time you're doing this, if you're not caught, you feel, wow, I can get away with this. You implement multiple times. And once you implement multiple times, it becomes a habit. But going back to whether or not we can't just throw away the baby with the bathwater. We need to inspect the reasons why it happened. Some people, depending at what level of communication the relationship is. Some people, to them, cheating is a deal breaker. If somebody, you cheat on me, you're gone. Very radical, very abrupt. But what happens in future when you're no longer angry? Okay? And you start admiring this person from a distance. Okay? Because you have decided to make this drastic decision to up and go.
I almost feel like you don't agree with upping and going.
Oh,
Am I capturing you correctly?
I will always insist that whenever there is a problem of whatever magnitude, people should actually regroup or try and come to terms, in understanding what has been a moment of affliction. All right? Understand the reasons. If there could be something I did that contributed to that, it could be feeding a habit as well. Because I mentioned thought and how thought can actually, if you entertain it, develop into one's character after the habits. What happens is, if there is a certain fantasy that I'm trying to fulfill, it can be one of the contributors of cheating. Because now you've got this fantasy, but that fantasy is with somebody else, and it is not with your person. Right? And then maybe you all of a sudden decide that this person is not good enough for this kind of exploration or experimentation.
Wow.
All right? And then let me do it with somebody who's open-minded to this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So there are many things at play. We are feeding habits, and thou shalt, if you don't want to cheat, thou shalt flee sexual temptation. Thou shalt flee thoughts that are always at variance with your belief systems. Yeah.
Look, I honestly, I know this is something that every one of us around the globe feels. Nobody wants to be cheated on,
Yeah.
right? Nobody wants to. But so in that, I'm also saying, even when we open up these questions, it's not that anybody amongst us has sort of retired to saying, I'm okay with being cheated on. But if we can maybe interrogate this conversation with a bit of honesty to say, look, ultimately, we live with the concept of cheating. I mean, it's in everywhere in society. And I think it's this one thing that we don't like to own. We like to put it out there as the elephant without actually interrogating. So what my appreciation from your response is that you're saying, look, whether it happens or not, the responsibility is still upon the person who is receiving that cheating, who's a recipient of it, to interrogate the situation. And that's moving away, Doc, away from you, from saying, Oksala, you're wrong altogether. I like how you're saying, be part of it, and be part of understanding what could have led to that point. Okay. And I'm saying that now because
Can I add something
before you add, when I asked you the question,
Yes.
whether cheating is new or not, one thing I know is that whether we look in terms of our grandfathers, our great grandfathers, this concept has continued to exist. And it has continued to be a thorn in our heels, and it still has. Ndiyakwazi uchithela uba ngathi usuke 10th floor nge-lift ne. Ibe ngathi vele aqhawuka intambo. It's almost like they cut the wires on a moving elevator ne, because that's how your heart goes boom, boom. Do you understand? And nothing can prepare you for that. But I'm saying, if we are to evolve forward as humans, like you beautifully said it, how about we have this conversation more honestly? Please, Ed.
Okay. You know what, Viwe? I like your thinking, ne? I'd like it to be a bit more practical. This is my situation. My mother was married to my sibling's father, and I grew up in a very unstable home where there was a lot of cheating, ne? And the cheating was very scary in the sense that my mom would get someone call and say, your husband is kwa Russia and is sleeping with someone kwa Russia. My mother would wake up at 12 midnight without a car. Walk up until she finds a car that she can hike and go to.
This
You know,
cheating,
and
July.
yes,
Oh,
and
man.
I promise you, it was so dangerous. And
Shame.
being a child and watching it and thinking, Mommy, why are you doing this? Why are you going to him? And I watched it. Ne? I watched what it did to her, and I later watched what it did to her health, because there are things that we must not forget. Sleeping with cheating does have sexual ramifications, as we've said. Sexual ramifications have HIV, has STIs, has many different things. So I want us to talk about it the way that you're saying it, but I also want people to understand that there are things. I watched my own mom. So are you telling me that I'm going to be open to cheating that I grew up with and didn't see anything that was positive about? I mean, it ended with my mother having multiple diagnoses, and it ended with very badly. And that has not changed. In 2025, people are still getting HIV infected. People are still getting infected with HPV. I mean, the human papillovirus, it is the thing now that is causing CA of the cervix.
I see. You know what? I think this also somewhat takes us to the question I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Because you must remember, cheating as a concept is not illness, right? It does not cause illness. How people conduct themselves in the cheating space, right? Can I say that?
Yes.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
It is the same as, even if you are not cheating, however you conduct yourself, that will be, that can cause issues for you health-wise and so on. So I don't want us to take
Financially,
cheating.
blah,
It
blah,
can
many
cause
different
every other
aspects of
problem.
your life,
So I'm
yes.
not saying we haven't even gotten, maybe let's get there. The people that cheat, if you had to give them one advice, just one, what's your best advice for somebody
Ooh, for
who's
somebody who
cheating?
cheat. People can go into a nervous breakdown, mental breakdown.
Is okay.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you start asking yourself, it comes from a point of feeling betrayal, the betrayal
Yeah.
that you've had to endure as a result of somebody's
Actions.
vices and actions.
Yeah.
Right. Now, obviously, when people do these things, they do it, because they want to satisfy a momentary occasion of fun,
Yeah.
right? Without thinking of the consequences.
Yeah.
But when the individual, the party you are cheating to, finds out, it can have a devastating effect. The question is, how do you feel after seeing those results?
No, look, I love your response. Although I asked for an advice for a cheater.
Oh,
And I'll tell you, and I think before you give that advice, I want you to offer this clarity from Maweto's answer. When does cheating become cheating? When does cheating become cheating? Is cheating because you've said hi to the cashier at the bank, Mawetu, in a way that was just like she's pretty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is cheating confirmed when she finds out?
I like where this is going.
Cheating.
When does cheating become cheating?
Cheating
Yeah.
is cheating the minute you do something that you are hiding from your partner, from your person. As long as it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter even if it was you talking to Zikona for blah blah blah. As even if you haven't done anything, as
Are
long
you
as this
cheating?
is something. But
Have you cheated before?
have I cheated before?
Is this what this is coming down to?
I love your definition of it, and I'm asking, have you done something that you were intentional on not making sure that your partner does not find out? Have you cheated before?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Love your honesty. Because what I'm trying to bring here, and I'm sorry that I had to ask you that question directly,
okay.
is that sometimes the standards that we hold other people to, we need to also see how they reflect on us. If the definition of cheating is you doing something that you are intentional, that your partner should not find out about, right? Then when you find out, when the script is reversed, I'll find out that in actual fact, somewhere, my person parked their car at this office and they were seen with the receptionist for so many hours. And because he was intentional of you not finding out Sikona, right? Suddenly you elevated because there was physicality between them.
Okay.
And yet in your own instance, you have, and admittedly, on Navigating Life with Viwe, you have sort of come here to say, look, I have done something that I intended not for my partner to know. And yet I did not expect it to cause the chaos that I've defined it causes when I find out.
I think Viwe, let me explain better.
No, don't defend yourself. It's
Relationships have got many different,
I say.
you know,
Take
the
me
relationships are very, you know, I can have like a superficial relationship, whereas the other person is thinking that it's deeper.
Wait, what? Who takes this measure?
Okay,
This thing-
let's
this
stop
thing-
there. I'd say that the places where I've cheated, the relationship was very, very weak. In my standards. In my standards. Weak.
My.
No, wait. I just want to actually know. Doc, I love how you're coming along. Come on, girl. I love how you're coming along because you are defining, and we've said before, have we not, that do we ever get to interrogate the reasons behind people cheating? You've stated yours, and to you it's justified.
Weak.
That the relationship was weak.
And it got
but
me.
in a different context.
And when the person was very worried that I cheated, I was like, but I thought we were weak.
Oh my.
I was gonna.
I'm like, why are
So
you
now-
crying? I thought we were weak.
So now it's a joint liability. Now you were both weak.
I know.
And then-
Gene, why didn't they know we were weak? Why didn't they know? I knew.
I think what the good doctor is saying is actually you should also understand where you are in the relationship. Can you get into like with 10th floor? Like understand your environment. Like a week.
Weak.
Sanalam. So all right, navigators, we are still eating this elephant piece by piece. Cheating. Mawet, I think South Africa, we cut up in half, if that's even a thing on this thing, because we've had people that have been in marriages suddenly deciding to take other people,
Yeah.
and in that space of dating, one would define Loisbini as an instance of cheating, bafuneke we officiate, you know, and then second wives come into play. I don't want to mention celebrities' names, but we've seen this happening, unfolding in front of us.
Polygon.
Yes, where people suddenly turn, what I spoke about earlier on, where we decide we're getting on the field to play soccer, and then halfway through the game, you're rugby right now. Here's the match. And I think it works so perfectly for men because culture does support it, right? Culture does say, in recent cases, you can have more than one wife, right? And they don't define what happens. Is it cheating when you're dating the second person and still exploring before you officiate? But I was first, before I ask you the question, I want you to just take this one off the table for me. Have you cheated before?
Wow. Did you really have to ask me? Hey, I thought it was going to stay.
As a
with
man,
Victoria.
as an African man, have you cheated before?
Yo, not,
Sorry?
not, not
Is the mic working, production?
not sexually, right?
I love you for that.
But
Have you done something that you were intentional that your partner should not find out about?
yes,
You have,
Yes,
right?
I have.
And actually, I'm interested to find out from you as a man. When you sit, and I love how reflection will actually hindsight. Remember how we always refer to hindsight. As a man, when you reflect upon your actions, when you intentionally hit something from your partner, what is the justification there? Was it culture? Was it
yeah, it's the selfish nature of the act where you don't have to consult with anyone because you know you're not doing something right. Okay, if you are found out, there's gonna be trouble, and sometimes it happens that you just get found out. Basically, anything that grants somebody else similar access and accessibility to your life, that is, similar to your wife, right? Did I say that right? So you agree the same amount of access that you grant somebody else. That access should be reserved for
One
your wife
person.
solely. Then that's cheating. Right? It can be a conversation around subjects that only your wife. There are certain things that only your spouse or your wife should know. Only your partner should know.
And see, maybe.
Immediately you uncover that for somebody else. Then that's you basically not emasculating. What's the right word? Neutralizing your partner.
I see.
Yes, you basically saying you and this other person are on the same wavelength from where I'm sitting. Whereas every spouse wants to have special attention, special access, special rights and privileges, and even obligations to their partner.
I love that. I love that because that's what we know. We also know that when you get into a relationship, you're supposed to be with this person, and exclusivity. Only they should ever see you naked. Only they should ever experience you in certain ways. And I like that. Thank you for your honesty on how you have intentionally kept things away from your spouse and how. But I just want to come back to both of you. We've established.
Intentionally, but it doesn't mean I was never found out.
No,
I was
but
so caught.
I
was so caught.
No, but you've killed a stereotype for me as well. So you couldn't have been caught. You could not have been caught because otherwise you're in Moshe. You can't kill a stereotype because for me, I'm sitting here thinking when men cheat, it's for sex. You've said you've never sexually done it. So already you've killed that stereotype for me, right? Now, not having explored the sex trauma and then can we make it make sense for you or is it just me?
Yeah, look, they are amateurs and they are pros, So
guys, I feel like men's conference,
look.
There's something that's not balancing out here for me. Awuyenzanga but uyabhaqwa.
But kaloku we
That's
said
why
that
we
cheating
said
is
it's
not
not
just
only
physical.
sexual.
Kaloku. Cheating
The
is
stereotype
emotional.
that I carry is that men do it for sex.
Okay.
So you've killed that stereotype for me. You were doing it for something else, which was not something. I thought women do it for other reasons.
I do not get why it should be a
Or were you
comparison
caught
between
before?
men and women. Because for whatever reason, it is wrong. Right? That is where I'm coming from, at least. We can justify it in many ways, right? Because it is a result of people entertaining thoughts that sort of like are character aberrations, if you like, or feeding a habit, an addiction, right? So we can feed our addictions. If I'm addicted to porn, for instance, right? I want to all of a sudden reenact whatever I've seen on TV. And it will find a way to the bedroom that is very disruptive because this person would be like, okay, I've been with you yesterday, the day before, many years before, and now this is new, and it does not come as a consultative effort, right? It comes from a one-sided sphere that you are going to introduce certain elements that add a flavor to the bedroom, and without giving me the prerogative of whether I'm accepting these or not. We haven't discussed it. You haven't got my buy-in. I
understand. I actually just want to come back and I'm going to ride on that part of the conversation from you. And I'm actually coming to Doctor's Con.
Okay.
You've flipped on me on this conversation because at the beginning of this conversation you explained and I felt the gravity of what cheating is, the loss that it is, right?
Yes.
And then halfway through the conversation you're like, I got a relationship. That relationship wasn't strong enough. And then I love how you're standing.
I stand by what I said.
I love it.
And there was no commitment from that that the people who thought I had cheated on them. There was no level of commitment we had promised each other.
I actually want to come back, and this is where I want to land, right? that, because this is a question I asked earlier, when does cheating actually become confirmed? Is it when you're doing it, or is it when you become found out? But you've also added another one now without realizing, because what you've just said is that, the person should have realized that the relationship wasn't strong enough. We didn't define who were
It
in
was
the
not a
relationship.
defined thing.
And because we didn't define it, it was actually not well for them to expect that I could not do something else on the
There
side.
were no rules of engagement. We didn't set that these are the expectations that we're supposed to expect from each other, and because of that, I didn't know that, and I promise you, it happened once. And this person was hurt, and I had to really be apologizing for cheating, which I really didn't think I did. But at the time, I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, I've cheated. Oh, I'm sorry. But
What do you mean you don't think you did?
I stuck up because it was a weak relationship.
I actually just want to come back and say, I just wonder, my dear viewers, navigators, just how many of you carry the baggage of feeling like you've been cheated on, when you actually did not do the actual initial work of defining what it is that you're getting yourselves involved in. Because it's easier for you to play victim, but I mean, have you done the work to make sure that both parties reach
This is
a point?
exclusive.
Yes, where they
this is
agree.
exclusive. I mean that's why it goes. You have to be committed to something that you have set down and said, okay, these are the rules. This is what we want. This is what we want out of this relationship, and we are now exclusive. So sometimes people assume exclusivity just because they assume exclusivity. Yet exclusivity needs to have a talk. It needs to have a sit down where we're saying this now is a relationship.
Sure.
Because I've been divorced for many years. I haven't had like an exclusive relationship in close to 10 years. Like I haven't had a. Okay.
So there's situationships going on.
Situation.
Going on. And there's cheating there. There is certainly cheating. Situationships without. And
I love situationships because there is no exclusivity in situationships.
But who are you situationshipping with? Have you ever considered? You are situationshipping. Who are you situationshipping with? In fact, let me structure this question like this.
Yes.
You have defined for yourself that ufuna situationship.
Uh-huh.
To what extent are you held responsible? Do we hold you responsible for your situationship partner's situation? So when you've decided you want a situationship and you're not cheating on anybody, right? But to situationship, just for illustration purposes, with Uma Wetu, who happens to be married to Viwe. Okay. So I'm just trying to then get to it, because I think somewhat this actually ties in quite closely with something that is a personal belief of mine.
Yes.
That whatever the flaw is of one person is the flaw for all humanity. You know, if one person is flawed in that they are killing people, that's the flaw of, you can't separate yourself to a point of to the last decimal, because it is a human issue. Uba kuthiwa umzekelo igusha ezikhoyo zitya inkomo, right? Igusha zasengcobo. That is the flaw for the whole generation of sheep. Wow. They're starting to eat cows. Do you understand? Because I think somewhat when we then take ourselves out of the equation to a point of superiority where we can pass judgments on other people, we tend to lose what it is that makes us human. Okay. That yours is mine, your faults are my fault. It's the flaw of the whole humanity as we exist. Okay. So that going forward on that conversation, back to you, put Mawetu. Right. Mawetu London. Back to you, Mawetu. And I'm honestly trying to, and there's a book, and I actually want everybody to actually go get it. I just forgot the name of the book, but Esther Perel, guys, when I was cheated on, I was sleeping sana my pillows would be wet, right? When I was cheated on, I wasn't cheated on once, I was cheated on for most of my life, honestly, right?
Follow mine.
No. And that woman actually got me to understand the science behind cheating. And I can never say what she said. But I also know there's healing in how you consume the concept of cheating. So the book I was referring to actually sort of zooms into the reasons why people cheat. And it also states it quite categorically clear, actually, that it's not something that is about to leave society. It is something that is going to continue to exist for so long as we consume it without interrogating it, right? For so long as we are quick to judge it without actually getting to understand what it is about. And seated here today with you as parents to your kids, and they are going to certainly get into dating. And like you've experienced it, I don't know, have you been cheated on before, I assume?
No.
You've never been cheated on?
Well, not from what I know. At least.
Zangwa find out, so it was never confirmed.
Yes.
You are one lucky man.
And I want it to stay that way.
You're not allowed to make me laugh that loud. So,
Alright.
as parents, raising daughters and sons, and I want you to speak to your daughter about cheating for a minute, and the same to you
Okay.
for a minute.
Okay.
How would you speak to your son, to your daughter about it?
Look, I'd say there are many things. Well, each relationship is unique, right?
Yes.
So what you need to make to have an understanding with your partner about is nothing should be off the table.
Okay. Love it.
And there shall be no taboo areas where you are concerned. And be vulnerable to your partner. Be trusting to your partner. Make a decision to trust your partner. All right. And do not betray that trust.
I see.
Right? So when you cheat,
Oh,
you stand
okay.
to lose whatever precious thing you had.
I
great.
assumed wrong.
We've seen
I thought
great.
you were going somewhere else.
What's the word? We've seen great men and women fall from grace because of that. All right. Because, trust is eroded. So I would channel them to try and do their best to resist temptation and entertaining thoughts that become ideas that become actions that becomes multiple actions, and multiple actions now become your character
I see.
because it's a habit.
I see.
All right.
Thank you for that. You had to speak about cheating to your son as a concept, because they're now becoming. They are becoming of age, and this is not something that you can and put in a wardrobe somewhere and lock it away. What do you say to your son about cheating?
Wow. Okay. Viwe, I'm not too sure that I'd talk to my children about cheating without actually talking about relationships. Ne? So, because cheating comes from having relationships. So this is what I would tell them. This is what I do tell them. I tell them that the most important thing in life is to get to know themselves, to get to know who they are, to get to know what it is that makes them tick, and to find their purpose. Ne? And their purpose, sadly, is not really going to be found in another person. So I try to teach them. I teach them this because it's something that I had to learn. My cheating story of being cheated on in a marriage. Yes, that version. My cheating story was very catastrophic. So catastrophic that for about 4 years I couldn't work. Ne? I was in and out of mental hospitals. 4 times I was in mental hospitals. So mine was very deep. It was very deep. I really would want my children to not suffer the way that I have. So this is what I teach them. I teach them that anything that you will have with a second person is only going to be as good as that person still wants it to be. I want you to always know that Uaza will be okay, Uluti will be okay, because cheating, I don't know how to, of course I'll tell them to never cheat. I'll tell them to not get into a committed situation and
Unless
end up
they're
cheating. And I mean, I'm such an example. I mean, I had to put them in boarding school because I couldn't mother them. So I don't know how they would be able to do that to someone else. I would be very sad because they watched it. They watched how I eroded, how I became a skeleton of what I used to be, how I vanished. I mean, I was there, yet I was lost. I vanished. My mom couldn't find me. No one could find me. So I would not want them to ever impose that kind of pain on anyone else. So the only thing I would want of them is one. I would want them to know Aza, know Aza. Because anything, when be it cheating, everybody is going to disappoint you. I want them to be ready. I wasn't ready. Because I wasn't ready, I suffered. I don't want them to suffer. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel that I did time for myself, my children, and their children. I did the time. And
hence I'm asking what you'd say to them, because I want to say, with the wealth of experience that you've gotten, said as it is, but what would you want your kids? But let's move this conversation forward. Stay or go? I'll tell you why I'm asking the question. Because when I was first cheated on, actually, it was great. And I'm going to mention it because I was sailing. I thought I found love. I thought navigators, we were just on those beautiful, Mauritius beaches, Zanzibar African beaches, where you're just like, oh my goodness, I found my love, I found my one. And then suddenly, boom, stay or go. I stayed.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
But what's your opinion? Do you stay or do you go?
Look, all right. For a moment, let's take cheating outside the equation. Now, thou shalt make conflict your ally. Okay.
Cheating as well.
Included, right? Well, cheating does cause conflict, doesn't it? So I'm just saying, couples should not be scared of a rift that is between them, because some of the success in marriages comes from having emotional and very tense conversations. From the worst conflict, that is how trust is developed. If you are caught cheating, we can go back to cheating now. If you are caught cheating, fess up. What sort of like casts doubt on the potential of the relationship to move on from that affliction comes from those conversations. Trust to say, this is what happened, and this is how it happened, and this is why it happened. So when you deny, you lose an opportunity to decide for yourself what kind of a man or a woman you want to become. Not because when we cheat, we're cheating, we must know that we stand to lose our relationships, right? So if somebody decides to stay, all the better. So I wouldn't Yes, I wouldn't ask anybody to leave. But if you realize that the reasons that contributed to that cheating is something that you cannot help yourself, then go.
I don't know. I don't know, because I think even in that, I know that most people are comfortable with saying people must stay, right? I think we are asked, especially women, to stay, whether it's through cheating or any other flaw that naturally you don't align with. You are told to begazela, and cheating has been a big part of ezazinto siyalwangazo, that you are actually not supposed to live through cheating. But Doc, honestly, given the pain, given the loss of trust, how do you rebuild? And I'm actually going to say, because it's all well and good if we are assuming that as a couple you are open in your communication, and you are open in taking fair accountability where it's required, right? But we also know that in society, that some of the people that cheat will actually spin it around to either blame you as the person that they are with, not having given you an opportunity by communicating earlier on what their frustrations are, or denying it altogether, creating this illusion that you are losing your mind for catching them out, that you are the problem, right? Because those are the things that exist. Or any other thing, just to avoid taking accountability for them. How do you then suggest that people that have experienced cheating in their relationships move on? Do they move on by ignoring that it has happened? Do they move on by saying we are not the first people to undergo this thing? Do they move on by saying he says he didn't do it? Do they move on by blaming the person that dated their partner? Because I think we also find that if we don't own the problem as a couple, we can just shift it to the side chick or the side guy.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the work that
I think
should be put in by people that have just gone through cheating?
I think Viwe, the question that you're asking is rather complex. Ne? When we're looking at the complexity of it is look at myself. I'm saying that my mother was cheated on. So it's very unlikely that I'm going to want to have that repetition in my life. So then we have to take a step back. We look at what are the lived experiences of these people. What have you experienced in your own life? Because that is what is going to then take you to the next step where you say, okay, I'm understanding that I was pregnant and he needed sex and I didn't want to have sex during the pregnancy. I understand. We can move forward. So I think what informs how you move forward is your beliefs, is where you come from, and is from whatever you've consumed from the world, what you've consumed and what becomes your beliefs. For instance, in my situation, maybe because of where I come from, there's a saying by Confucius that says, when you decide to embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves.
Yeah. I know
So
that
for
one.
myself, I always knew that cheating, I was never going to be able to live past it. And as a result, I moved on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I moved on. I went through all the pain. I could have chosen another path. I chose the path of moving forward because for me, cheating said that, for me, it informed me that even my past, like I said in the beginning, that I didn't know if my past with this person was true. So not only was my present unsure, but my past and my future was not. So the minute I was not able to be certain of those things, I knew that I had to leave. And for me, if I were to live my life all over again, knowing everything that I know now, I would still choose to have left. I still would choose that. Would I not? I would choose that for myself. I would choose that for my children. Because I mean, fine, the fact that I divorced and had to go on this whole mental journey and become this, I'm glad that it actually introduced me to me.
Oh, love it.
I mean,
returning to self.
I finally know Zik. You know, Zik is quite cool.
I love it.
I really
love
like
it.
her. You know,
I love it.
She's quite cool.
So it was a situation that was supposed to break her into something that helped her find herself.
Yes, Zikona found herself.
I love it. And I hope this conversation actually helps some of our navigators find themselves.
I mean, I find that now, post everything that I've been through, oh gosh, oh man, my life does not revolve around another human being. It does not. Before it did.
Up until you get out of these situationships. Up until you recommit and we see how you take cheating.
I'm 44 now, Viwe. I'm closer to the end of my life than the beginning. So believe me, the end of my life is actually more written by me. Every day is written by Zikona.
I love
what
it.
I'm gonna do tomorrow is informed by myself and myself only.
I love it.
And oh yes, it took a lot of pain to be here. But do I like being here? It's true. It's true. The cheating, I didn't know whether my past or my future or my present, I didn't know what was true, but this is true. Zikona is sitting, is single, sometimes gets in situationships, sometimes not. My children think I'm pathetic, but who cares?
Well, back at you, Maweti, and I think we're going to be closing off do you think... Oh, I love that I'm asking you and you're a man, African man, and the type of man that you are, that I love you for. Do you think the same justice is given to men and women when they cheat?
No, I don't think so. Women, actually, men cheat with women. This is
Sometimes men
this is
too.
This is now in the heterosexual world. All right, the world I know a bit more expertly than
Yes.
anything outside heterosexual world.
Yes.
I think women get a raw deal as far as cheating is concerned. It is not justified. I said at the beginning, whether it's done by male or female.
I remember.
It remains wrong, right? It remains an error of judgment, poor judgment. It's a misdeed, right? So, women, when women do it, the shame has got to be spoken about. Men themselves cannot stomach it, yet it is a conduct that they normally, venture on. There is so much contradiction where men expect to cheat with women.
Kuthiwa isela alifuna ubelwa. I understand exactly where you're going. Nobody isela alifuna kubelwa, isela lifuna ubalodwa. Okay. And I think that's how I can summarize this whole man and male and female situation about cheating. I think you're quite right in your interpretation that for so long it has been something that has been done by men. And I love how the sisters are just representing in that space. Not all of us can, but I feel like I believe in an equal world where what happens on the left must happen on the right. So big ups to all the ladies that are taking on this fight and that are equalizing this space and that are just genuinely living out their best. Because I now want to conclude by saying, if there's an agreement between two people, it has to be clear. That we are going exclusive. Otherwise, it's just an unfair expectation. Like who Doc said earlier on, it'd be a weaker relationship, but this person expected for me to be exclusive with them. And also, if that is not stated clearly, the expectation should fall off. And secondly, if that agreement is solid, maybe we should talk about how we resolve cheating disputes so that we actually interrogate them without labeling them almost unfairly. Because it's never fair for anybody to look from outside and say, that person cheated, it's unfair. Let's interrogate what's behind the cheating. And also, one problem that exists with one of us is all of our problem. We cannot distance ourselves as we see fit at times and be like, oh no, we are cheating next door, but uncheatel. When it happens to you, uhlale phezu kwayo because you're trying to maintain decorum. Okay, I think we need to start opening ourselves and to speak more honestly. I think we need to also elevate our relationships, man. Let's be in relationships where we are understood, where we are able to speak our truth, we are able to be ourselves. No one should tell you you should be in an exclusive relationship if that's not what you want. You can define, you can navigate the space as it suits you, Stando-sam. We are here to tell you, you cannot download your rules from outside. Society has rules. You define what works for you. It's a big enough world of 5 billion people. We can never all agree on how to live. We must define, we must be part of the project that says, this is what I vote for and this is what I elect for my life. Thank you so much. Dr. Zikorna, popo. That the cheating there is explainable, guys. So don't take it further than the episode. Put my words representing the gents. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. And do talk, do give us feedback, do comment, do just be part of it. Tell us what you think. Have we covered cheating adequately? Do you want us to come back? What have we left out? But besides, leave it on the comments. Let's all engage. And it's a wrap.
I know, you love me so,